Hey, welcome to my 5th R3 Driving Academy guide for Assetto Corsa EVO, the final one as of now. We're starting off by balancing the throttle about halfway neutral, then shifting up to first as the lights go, and then building up the throttle to 100%. Then moving to the right side of the track looking for the 50 board there, and we're going to be braking at or just before that 50 board and aiming to have a mid to late apex in this first turn, avoiding getting onto the curb but getting as close as you can to it, towards the apex there, and then getting back on throttle, carrying your momentum to the outside curb using all of the green area on the outside, but don't touch the grass because it can flick you up and bounce you a little bit, and it will hurt your exit a little bit. Also, as of right now, there's this thing with this car: when you're turning and accelerating, the traction control engages a lot and it can really impede your acceleration, similar to the thing with the BMW Cup car that we drove in the R2 challenges, except not as bad in this car. It might be a little faster with a lower traction control setting though. This turn we're braking about where that sign is with the arrows on the left there, braking alongside that on the outside, and we can carry a bit of speed into this turn, but making sure we get very close to this inside curb, carrying some speed along the white line. If you go onto the curb, it'll bounce you out, and if you go any wider, you'll probably understand you'll have to lift or throttle a lot. So very precise line through there. Now here we're looking for where the cones are, and we're beginning to turn towards the apex as we get to the cones, and we're going to lift off throttle about here, and then we're going to start braking just before we get to the wall on the inside. And we're going to carry the car's momentum out to the outside of the track on the right there, and then we can turn in quite hard into this turn. It's a very steep turn with a lot of camber, so you'll get a lot of grip. So turn in hard right here, come very close to the inside of the turn, and around about where we are now, or just at the apex there, we can start getting back on throttle and bringing the car to the left here. Don't go too far to the right. You want to come back towards the left around the middle of the track here to open up your entry line for this bend to the right, so that you can stay full throttle. If you go too tight, you're going to have to lift off throttle. The reference point for turning up here is that tree on the left outside the fence. We're going to start turning just before we get to that tree, and then we're going to have to lift off throttle to make sure we can get through this turn. Apexing around where that curb is, there's a cone on the fence. You can apex just before that, and making sure we carry a speed all the way to the outside, but not hitting the wall, of course. Here your line is between the middle and the right of the track, not too far to the right because it gives you more of an awkward line. Turning in, the track's going to drop down, you're going to have less grip. Aiming for where that green arrow is, continuing to turn in, and as the tyres dig into the ground there, it will pull you towards the inside. And you're aiming to have a later apex around this curb here. Don't get onto the curb, come very close to it, and apexing just before we get to the cone there, being very patient to get back on throttle. Easy to understand the wall there. Here we're going to lift just before, we're going to start turning just before we get to the red and white curb there, and lifting off throttle as well, being very patient. Coming towards this inside curb, and we can apex on the curb just a little bit. If you hit the curb at the wrong angle, it could spit you out, so just be careful. Back to the left side of the track here, once again opening up our entry line. Now we're going to have a little bit of a safety brake here. You can carry a lot of speed over this crest here, but just a little bit of a safety brake where I've got the markings on screen right there. Now come very close to the wall on the right here, too far to the left, and you're going to go into the runoff on the left. So you're going to go off the track, so be careful. Far to the right here, hard on the brakes, and as we come to the curb, we're turning over the curb, lifting off the brake as we go over the curb. Then after the curb, as we're back on the track facing straight, we're on the brakes again, coming off the brake as we turn to the right here. Then at this point, open up the entry line just a little bit, and then turn hard to the left. The track's going to drop down, you'll lose grip, you'll hit the bottom, you'll gain grip. By the point you hit the bottom, you should be full throttle through here. Now after this bend to the left, we're going to have a weight shift brake just before those cones. We're not getting on the brake too hard, but you should feel the rear move towards the outside, which will help rotate us through this turn while carrying speed. And then as we get straight, just before we go down the crest, we're going to start braking quite hard here. On this lap, I got on the brakes a little bit too late, and you'll see I go a bit wide there. You should aim to apex around where the green arrow is, along that white line there, and getting on throttle around where that green arrow is, but I went a little bit wide there, cost myself a little bit of time through there and on exit, but the lap still ended up being okay. As soon as the game offline thing started popping up on the top right of the screen, I was getting very distracted, so I was quite lucky to get this lap as clean as I did. But anyway, down the straight, we're looking towards where the track opens up on the left side. We're going to cross over the white line just to slightly open up our entry line to give us a nice line for braking after this bend to the right. And then after the bend, we're looking for the 150 board, and here we're going to be braking about a car length or two before the 150 board, hard on the brakes and staying towards the outside. I find naturally in this turn you want to turn quite early and you end up hitting the curb, so just be patient and get a wider and later apex, getting close to the curb without hitting it and still carrying speed through. It's the smoothest way to get through there. And then on exit, keep very tight on this inside curb here. That'll help you take this turn flat out. If you carried a bit too much speed through the turn, you might have to lift to take that turn there without going wide on exit. For the final turn, we're looking for the 100 board there, braking about a car length before it, hard on the brakes, and once again there's quite a steep curb on the apex of this turn, so we're aiming for a mid to late apex here, once again getting as close as we can to that inside curb without getting onto it. on throttle at the apex, carrying a speed to the outside curb, and that is the lap done. And that's also the final Driving Academy challenge out the way. As of right now, I don't know if they're going to add more in the future, if they're going to change any of it, but that's it for now. I hope the guides helped you out. I hope it helps you get the 3 stars. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. I'm going to play through the whole run again without any interruptions, so you can watch the lap without me talking. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again in a video soon.